this is Mark Rodriguez.
And this is Johnny Rodriguez.
And this is Jupi-chan, or Ninja Jupi, whichever you prefer.
And today, we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Cowabunga Collection. But this time, we're going to go a little bit different. As you can tell, Video Game Masters has been going on for over 100 episodes, and yes, we are big Ninja Turtle fans, so we have covered their games a lot throughout the episodes here and there. And yeah, we actually talked about the Ninja Turtle arcade game at the arcade, or at least a nightclub bar that happened to have arcades in it, but it's close enough, you know?
Yeah, I miss your coins.
So in this episode, rather than talking about the games, because they're basically exactly the same as the original games from the Nintendo era and stuff like that, so instead of kind of like repeating ourselves and doing a clip show or whatever, we're going to talk more about like the little oddities, the differences here and there between the originals and the collection, all the different features the collection has, the online play and stuff like that, so let's get into it.
The Cowabunga Collection comes with all 13 classic Ninja Turtle games from the 8-bit and 16-bit era. This includes all the Turtle games for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and the Game Boy. This also includes the original arcade versions of the first Ninja Turtle game, and Turtles in Time, and all 3 versions of Tournament Fighters. You also get the American and Japanese version of several of these games.
Each of the games has new cheats and features that help you beat them, like extra lives and level selects. Some of them even get the rewind feature, where you can turn back time a few moments and redo any mistakes you did in the games. Right, there we go. Then Mikey with the super. There we go. Alright, let's go. There we go, little slide kick there. There you go. He's not ready for it. Okay, there we go. Almost no life left. Oh, dude, no, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay, there we go. This time we'll get him. This time we'll get him. Alright. No, what the fuck? No, come on. Okay, one more time. One more time. No, dude. Are you serious? One more time, damn it. Okay, let's see here. Would you stop fucking throwing me? Okay, one more time. One more time.
Mark, just take the L.
There you go. Almost no life left. Would you stop throwing me? Okay, one more time, guys. Come on, we almost got him. We almost got him. One more time. There we go. There we go. No life left. There you go. You can't block that shit, Mikey. We gotcha!
There's God mode that lets you take less damage from the enemies. You can also get extra lives for the console games, and you even get the option to remove the slowdown and the flicker from the NES games.
Here you face the foot soldiers, electric balls, and the worst enemy ever, horrible slowdown. I mean, just look at that.
Not anymore, Johnny of the past. Say goodbye to the slowdown during those surfing levels at last.
Alright, so now let's get into the games. Now some of you guys might have forgotten a couple of details here and there because you guys maybe played the older games on emulators, you know, before this collection came out, or maybe you guys haven't played them since like way back then in your childhood. So you might have forgotten or not noticed these little things here and there. Well, lucky for me, I still got the original working Nintendo Entertainment System and the original games. I can actually dare to compare. Oh yeah, this is the shit right here, guys. Good old-fashioned 8-bit cartridges. If you want them to work, you gotta blow. As I just say, if you want to play, you gotta blow. There you go, pop that sucker in, and get ready to play. But the question is though, the Cowabunga Collection, I got it for the PS4, so not only is it a disc, but not really, it's like digital. Like, it's not just a PS4, but it's also digital. What do I blow to make it work? Oh god. What do I blow to make it work? Like, I don't know, like, where do I blow? Do I blow it like here where you put the game in? Or do I blow it like on the little USB ports? Like, I don't even have a disc, it's digital. Like, I can't even blow on the disc. Maybe over here, or maybe over there. It's like, oh my god, I got no place to blow. I've got no place to blow.
Okay, bro. Let's go on with the review.
Oh my god, that is so cheesy. Jeez.
You have no idea.
Fine, let's get to it.
The first Ninja Turtles game was actually the one for the NES. In this game, each turtle has 1 life and you can switch between them at any time, so it's almost like you have 4 lives, but you gotta be very careful. Once the turtle's gone, they're gone unless you can rescue them in later stages. Besides the usual weapons the turtles have, you can also find extra weapons like boomerangs and throwing stars. In the original Nintendo version, you can just press the select button to switch between your regular weapon and your special weapon, but on the PS4 you gotta press this big black spacebar thing that I keep forgetting is an actual button to do the switch, so that's kinda weird there. This game also has the infamous underwater maze where you gotta find and disarm the bombs within a time limit. I'm not sure how much the rewind feature is going to help you here. If you're going to get killed by the electric seaweed, you're going to get killed by the electric seaweed, you know? There aren't any cheats to give you any lives or god mode or stuff like that, but at least you can use the watch mode to finally see the game to the very end. It looks like one of those zero damage playthroughs you find online, so kudos to whoever did this one. And man, what the fuck is it with these weird enemies? Like, this game, man, just this game.
Both Ninja Turtle arcade games are perfect ports of the original arcade classics. One noticeable thing with both games is that you select what turtle you want to use before you start the game. This is based on how the original arcades had a turtle assigned to a certain spot on the machine. You couldn't just pick anyone you wanted. If you put a quarter in the Michelangelo spot, you're playing as him and you can't switch later on. So in both arcade games, you're pretty much stuck with the same turtle throughout the entire game, so choose wisely.
The first arcade game had the turtles try to rescue April and then later on Splinter from Shredder and the Flit in 8 stages of crazy action. Turtles in Time would throw in the time travel aspect with the Shredder sending the turtles through different time periods, like prehistoric times, and the far-off future of 2020. Oh yeah, well, we're already past that. Not a good time. Would not recommend it. Anyway, moving on, you get unlimited lives in both games, and you can also select Nightmare mode, where you can have the screen just crawling with enemies. Dude, just look at this madness.
One thing I never noticed about the first arcade game was that Baxter Stockman just flat out leaves if you take too long to beat him. The dude just randomly fucks off. I was doing a one-player game, he was kind of hard to reach, the monster was getting my way, and Baxter just randomly was like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. And it's so weird, like I thought it was a bug or something, but no, this does happen. If you purposely ignore him and just attack the mousers and, you know, just goes on long enough, he just leaves, and then you killing whatever mousers are left on screen at the time would count like you beat the boss and you beat the stage. That is so weird. TMNT 2, the arcade game for the NES, brought the first arcade game home, with some new stages and some new bosses. The controls for the Cowabunga Collection version are a bit weird. It seems much more difficult to do the 2-button jump attack for some reason. I could do it just fine in the original arcade game, but not here. I even pulled out the original NES to play it and compare, and I can still do it there without a problem, so I don't know what happened here. I mean, it's not rocket science, guys, it's just pushing 2 buttons at the same time. What sucks is that this is the strongest attack in the game and the one you're going to be using the most often, so not being able to use it consistently here really ruins the experience. For some reason, it is a little easier to do it in the Japanese version, but the original NES controller still beats this. Another odd thing I noticed was this weird, almost sliced in half flicker on the side of the building when you're walking diagonally downwards in the second stage. I don't remember this being in the NES game, and sure enough, when I go back to play it, it's not there. So again, what happened here? Now, one thing I was curious about were those Pizza Hut signs that were all over the NES version, because back then you had some kind of special promotion or something like that. Now, so many years later, I was curious, like, okay, what are they gonna do? And what did they do? They just use these boring blank signs. Like, come on, guys, at least put like the Foot Clan logo or something. Like, use some imagination. In the Japanese version, the very first signs that drop on you on stage 2 say Turtles Racing, but any other sign after that has been removed completely. I don't mean like blank signs, I mean the entire thing is just gone.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project, had the Shredder levitate Manhattan Island off the ground and the Turtles have to stop him, as well as rescue April. The game gave the Turtles super moves and also featured a lot of memorable bosses like Leatherhead, Slash, Brown Chuck, and even Dirtbag. The 2-button press used for the super attacks works a little better here, but it's still not perfect. The Japanese version isn't much better in that aspect either. The extra cheats actually give you infinite lives instead of just 7 like the Nintendo version used to give you.
TMNT 4, Turtles in Time, was the SNES version of the second arcade game, and I gotta give them credit. The graphics and sound come very close to the arcade original. The game even has extra stages and new bosses like the Rat King and everyone's favorite, Slash. In fact, some fans still love the SNES version over the original arcade version. The Hyperstone Heist is kinda sorta like the Genesis version of Turtles in Time, though it does mix up elements from the original arcade game as well. This time the Shredder uses the Hyperstone to shrink down New York City, and the Turtles gotta stop him. So without the time travel element, this time all of the game takes place in New York and in modern day. Finally, we'll take a look at the SNES version of Tournament Fighters. It was a cool fighting game with a tournament mode and story mode, and aside from the Turtles and Shredder, the rest of the cast came from the Archie comics, the Mirage comics, and the toy line. Since you have both the Japanese and American versions side by side, it's a lot easier to compare the differences. Some of the characters got slightly different voices for their attack moves, especially the Turtles, between both versions. There was also this Channel 6 stage where you fought the Rat King. In the Japanese version, you can break through the walls on either side, which exposes more of the stage to fight through. It was kind of strange that it didn't make it for the American release, and it's the only stage that does this.
And here's the part where we talk about Asuka, because you know everything's better with Asuka.
Who is she, and where does she come from?
Of course, we all know about Asuka, in which the Japanese version has an outfit that showed a lot more Asuka. She was also the only character to have an original winning animation, while everyone else when posed was based on a pre-existing move or animation. Now back then, we thought Asuka was thrown in the game to have an extra appeal for the Japanese audience. Now after more research, we know that Asuka was originally supposed to be based on Mitsu from the third live-action movie. When that movie bombed, they decided to turn her into an original character.
Why, Johnny? I never knew you were a gentleman of culture. Interesting.
Hey, everybody gets one.
We'll go deeper into the Game Boy games and the Genesis and NES versions of Tournament Fighters in another episode. One thing to note about this collection bringing them back though is the fact that the third Game Boy game, Radical Rescue, and the NES version of Tournament Fighters are very hard to come by and extremely expensive online. So now you have a chance to check them out here. A couple of things to notice here is that the Game Boy games don't have as many cheats and are strictly black and white. You don't get the extra color options that you would when using the Super Game Boy, which is a bit surprising honestly.
Other than getting all these cool games and the God Mode cheats, you also get all sorts of bonus materials. You can check out the original game box art and the instruction manuals. You can also check out the promotional materials and ads from back in the day. It's actually kind of funny seeing some of the ads getting parts cut out or blocked out because they would feature other games like Tiny Toons Adventures that you don't have the rights to show here. Yeah, remember those guys? You also get to see cool design documents and layouts of the games. We can finally get a little more insight on just what the hell was up with all these weird made up enemies in that first Nintendo Ninja Turtle game. Like, what the hell is up with these guys?
You also get images of the covers of the different comic book series from the Mirage, Archie, and the current IDW comics. Check out this awesome cover that was the inspiration behind the cover of the first Nintendo game. You can also check out images of all 4 Turtle cartoons with pics from several seasons.
Finally, you can play some of these games online. Sort of. You can choose either both arcade games, Hyperstone Heist, and the SNES version of Tournament Fighters. The online isn't the best, and it's very difficult to find someone to play with even though the collection is relatively new. From my personal experience, having 2 players in the arcade games play decent enough. The real problems start when you have 3 or all 4 players online at the same time. Lots of lag, slowdown, and freezing up. One time, we started off with 2 players, which was fine, but then 2 more people came on, and the game had horrible lag, which made the new players want to leave. But then, even after they left, the game went back to being a regular 2-player game, but the lag remained and never went back to how it was before. So the rest of the game was now stuck playing horribly. And one time, the game just flat out crashed and kicked me right back to the PlayStation home screen the moment the 4th player hopped on. So hopefully later updates fix this, because this is just horrible.
Alright guys, here are my thoughts on TMNT The Cowabunga Collection, and Wait a minute. What the hell's that doing here? Wasn't that over there? The other, like, what the fuck? I don't know. I guess it's just following me or something. Whatever. Anyways, the collection of games are a lot of fun. It kind of takes me back to the old days. Of course, it's cool for people that no longer have their Super Nintendo or their Genesis or whatever. And now they can play those games again. And in certain cases, some of the games nowadays are extremely rare, hard to find, and very, very expensive if you do find them. The arcade games. Like for me, that was the big selling point, the arcade games. I missed out on the Xbox 360, Xbox Live version of a TMNT arcade game. So here's my chance to get it. Now it is forever mine, so that's pretty awesome. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. Now, of course, the major downsides we did cover in this episode is mostly some of the controls and stuff. Some of those things are just kind of different. I guess it might be because, you know, the PS4 controller is not the same like the classic Nintendo controller and Genesis and stuff. The fact that TMNT 2, the arcade game, you can't do the jump attack consistently like you know, back in the day. It almost ruins the game for me. And it kind of ruins the whole idea that it is supposed to be a faithful conversion, just like the old days or whatever, because that entire game is mostly the jump attack, because the foot are so cheap, you gotta use the jump attack most of the time, so that kind of ruins it. The online, though, is another big issue. I don't know, like, what happened the way it's set up. I do know that they don't have, like, dedicated servers, the way, for example, Shredder's Revenge, you can just hop in there. Here, it's kind of different how they made it, and it's very limiting. And yeah, like all the slowdown in the arcade games, and you know, lots of luck trying to find anyone that's gonna play either Tournament Fighters or Hyperstone Heist with you online. I can't find anyone at all. The collection's kind of bittersweet. Certain games just don't play the same, and that really affects it. That really hurts, especially TMNT 2, the arcade game. It really hurts that one. And the online, for the people that like, you simply must play online, it's not going to be a fun experience, so that's not so good either. And finally, the extra features are pretty cool. The rewind feature is cool. All the extra behind-the-scenes stuff with pictures from the show, the comics, the music, stuff like that. That's all pretty cool. That's just extra, like, you know, extra toppings or whatever. But yeah, there you go. So it's a mixed bag. I did enjoy lots of the games, not all of them, so I can't like just lie and say it's a perfect collection. There's still a couple of things that could have been done better.
I feel that this collection is great for those who used to play these games back in the day or just grew up with them. I'm always up for that, you know, the nostalgia factor. But the fact that you can alter things up a bit or play like how they were originally as a choice is also a nice feature. Now, let's get down to the main problems this collection has based on my observations watching Mark play this. There was so much slowdown. Even the music had slowdown, and I always liked the theme in Neon Knight Riders and Turtles in Time. I mean, come on, that was a cool theme. I also hated the fact that I couldn't play along with him online because I have a Switch. The reason for these issues: no crossplay feature and no dedicated servers for the collection itself to prevent the slowdown. I'm glad Shredder's Revenge wasn't conceptualized in that way. I can begrudgingly give a partial pass on the crossplay, you know, it might be difficult to program for, but the fact that some of the online play is pretty much unplayable and can even crash if you have all 4 turtles on screen playing is just ridiculous. Even with 2, Mark had trouble with some of the gameplay, as maybe you can see. This is the internet age. They really need to fix that. The best way to play is definitely in person, but if you have friends or family scattered across the globe, you might as well hang it up. Also, I'm sure for those who may be alone or they don't have, you know, people that can just come over and just play in person, that'll probably deter them from even purchasing this collection, which is, you know, awesome to have.
There's not much I can really say about the games. I mean, they're all the classic games we played in the past, and I can't wait to check out those classic arcade games again. Too bad the online play is incredibly slow though. It's like they took off the slowdown from Nintendo games and added it to the arcade games.
Alright guys, that's this episode of Video Game Masters. This is Mark Rodriguez.
And this has been Jupiter. Cowabunga!
And this is Johnny Rodriguez. Thanks for watching and see you next time.